Hey guys, got a little story to tell you about a axe. My dad had this axe sitting in the corner of his shop that I've seen sitting there for a while, and over the years I've kind of gotten an appreciation for the finer tools that were made years ago because the high carbon steel that a lot of axes were made out of and tools in general. You just can't get that stuff anymore. If you buy it at Lowe's, it's not the same. You have to go out and buy a really expensive tool. Sometimes upwards of $100 just to get what these guys were made out of years ago. So I was going to share this with you. This is actually, after talking to my dad about it a little bit and looking this guy over really close, I noticed that Plumb, Plumb, was inscribed or stamped onto the blade. And as I looked at it, I did a little bit of looking around and found out that Plumb was actually a very good axe maker back in the day. Their namesake's still out there, but they're not the same as they used to be. But this axe in particular, I remember as a kid using it to split wood when I couldn't swing a split maul, and even pounding on the back of it with a hammer or a sledgehammer to get it through another log, to drive it on through. So you can see where it's had some damage over the years from abuse that me and my father gave it. So I talked to him. I said, hey, can I have the axe? The handle that it had was in pretty bad shape. This is the handle. As you can see, it's had much better days. I went ahead and knocked it out because it's no good. I don't believe that's the first handle that was ever in the axe. After getting a little farther into the conversation with my dad about this particular axe head, and knowing that Plumb has been around since they patented this particular trademark stamp in 1917 and continued all the way up into the 80s with that particular stamp. My dad said that this was actually his dad's, which was my grandfather, and that best he could remember, this axe has been around since he can remember. Well, my dad's like 70, so I would venture to say this axe head's probably anywhere 1940s, 1950s vintage. It's easily 50, 60 years old anyhow. Maybe even 70 or older. It's kind of hard to say. These things are hard to date. There is, however, if you look really, really, really close, and I don't think this camera is going to show it at all, but there is a 1 and a 2 stamped right here. Or I think I can make out the 2, but I'm pretty sure there's a 1 there as well. But anyway, I wanted to tell you guys about it because I plan on doing a little restoral on it, getting it back to nice clean condition, get these where I've damaged the pole over the years, get all that ground out, put a good clean edge on it, get rid of this jaggedness going on here, clean it up real good, get a new handle in it, and do it upright and keep it around so I'll have it for years to come, and one day I can hand it down to my son. Okay guys, my next step is to go ahead and put a handle on this guy. One of the things I've learned from other people that do this is you want to look for the orientation on the grain orientation on the handle. You want it to run parallel to the head. This way you got more strength. And this handle, after looking through several at a couple of different hardware stores, I noticed that the grain on this particular handle is very, very, very tight. There's not a lot of space between it, which tells me this is a very dense piece of wood. And it's a little darker in color. I'm not sure if it's maybe because it's got some oil on it, or if it's been if it's had any kind of clear coat or anything put on it. But I'm going to give it a good sanding and coat it with soak it with some linseed oil. But this is the handle I went with. It was the straightest of the bunch. Doesn't have any defects in it that I could find. No knots. Grain's in the right direction. Seems to be very, very good handle. Some of them I found where the grain was turned perpendicular to the head. Some of the handles weren't straight. Some of the palm swells versus the orientation of the head was twisted, so the palm swell would be turned this way and the head orientation would be that way, so you wouldn't be striking correctly as you were swinging the axe. But this one has a very good orientation. Just in general, I think this handle will do quite well. Let's see if we can get a good shot of that. Let's see. There you go. You can kind of see how it's lining up right there. Can't really beat it. I don't believe so. So anyway, we're going to work on getting this guy put on and take you along for the ride. One of the tricks I have with this particular axe head that I can tell is it has an extra bit of support here. Where a lot of axes are just straight across. They're a lot easier to seat on these handles, but this one I've got to try and work this out a little bit to where it's going to seat down on there good. Now, I am going to be honest with you and not lie. This rasp is great in removing wood. But for trying to get this right here, this curve, it's not real easy to do. I have another tool. This guy. Got a little scuff disc on it. I'm going to break out some power tools, speed the process up, and I'll be able to, with my limited woodworking skills, I should be able to get this right here cut out without taking all of this area out and this area out. Because you can see where the head's starting to seat down right here.